Denny Hamlin reacts to the massive penalty he was dealt this past week. Front row fires off fast ahead of a must-win Daytona race. And less than a year after joining forces, Trackhouse and Zane Smith have already parted ways. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove on the go. Oh my gosh, I just noticed you can see the remnants of a Buc-ee's cinnamon roll I absolutely demolished late last night. That's embarrassing. Well, it's too late now. I'm not taking it out. We've got lots to get to tonight. Of course, the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona. Great opportunity for some fringe playoff contenders to win their way in. We will get to that in just a few moments. We have comments, clips from a bunch of different Cup Series drivers that we will share in this episode, but I want to begin with Denny Hamlin because late this past week, NASCAR slapped Denny Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing with an L2 penalty. That's a 75-point, 10 playoff point penalty. The team was found to have violated NASCAR's strict engine seal rules. Toyota took Denny Hamlin's race-winning Bristol engine and rebuilt it before NASCAR had the chance to inspect it. Toyota self-reported the issue. NASCAR came down hard anyways. Reporters swarmed Denny Hamlin in the media center yesterday, wanted to get his reaction to that news, and here's what Denny Hamlin said.
I don't know, it's hard to not feel and be negative in the moment, and I am in the moment. I feel negative about it, not about the decision or anything like that, just about, you know, our season and potentially, you know, what it could or couldn't do. It's really hard in this kind of format when you work so hard in the regular season, right, to get all those bonus points. It's really tough to see it just wiped away, and so, but it's part of it, and we got to just overcome now.
Hamlin grieving the loss of important playoff points. Not only did NASCAR dock him 10 playoff points, which again carry throughout each round of the playoffs, he also dropped from 3rd to 6th in the regular season standings. That's worth playoff points as well. Denny Hamlin is going to feel that loss this fall, and he knew it.
You know, you celebrate, you know, these 1-point stage victories and race victories so much because of, you know, that, man, every round I've got that. And when I look at, like, you know, we're in contention for the regular season, that's gone. You know, what we're potentially lost and could lose more, you know, like Blaney wasn't going to reach us in points. So at the worst, we were going to be 4th. We could go back to 8th, 9th. You know, it's not just those 10 points, it's the 7, 8 others that we're going to miss out on every round. So cumulative, it could be 50 or so points, and so that's the gut punch, is like, damn it, you know, this format rewards regular season excellence, but it certainly, you know, it allows you to have, you know, not a perfect day, one day, and still be able to race for a championship. But, you know, now I'm kind of back there in the middle where it's like, you know, I'm very vulnerable in some spots.
A lot of fans, fairly, have been quick to pile on Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, some suggesting that their win at Bristol should be revoked. And that's a fair opinion to have. The engine is one of the most crucial elements of the car. Any funny business there is cause for concern. But for what it's worth, many drivers were asked about the Denny Hamlin penalty in the media center this week, and Matt Weaver of Sportsnaut compiled several quotes from competitors who actually felt bad for Denny Hamlin, defended Denny Hamlin, including Brad Keselowski, who is also a team owner. The weight could drop on anyone's feet. I have empathy because I know that could have been me. I know for certain that Denny and the team didn't do anything wrong, but I also understand the reason for the penalty and why NASCAR has that system in place. Other veteran drivers chimed in. Dale Earnhardt Jr. tweeted this: "If you're gonna trick the engine, you ain't risking it at Bristol." So I'm not telling you how you should feel one way or another. I do believe this was an honest, logistical, clerical mistake. I don't think that specific engine is the reason Denny Hamlin won at Bristol, a race where I don't think any driver was full throttle at any point during the event. It was all about tire saving, and we saw veterans like Hamlin and Truex bubble to the front because of their experience. So while I think the penalty here is 100% justified, I don't think it's fair to say that engine is the reason Hamlin won at Bristol. And even if you feel that way, I mean, he lost 10 playoff points. So they actually penalized him for that race and then some. So I think the punishment more than fits the crime, in my opinion, but, you know, fans can have their different opinions. That's fair. Now, before we talk Daytona specifically, some silly season news at the track. Yesterday, Kaulig Racing announced that Daniel Dye will drive the number 10 car full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series next season. He will be teammates with Josh Williams. If you watch my other show, Power Hour, you'll know that Josh Williams confirmed a while ago he has a multi-year deal with Kaulig. He will be back in the 11 car. The 16 is still TBD. AJ Allmendinger, we now know, is headed back to Cup full-time. That's very exciting. What we did learn yesterday is that the 97, currently driven by Shane Van Gisbergen, will not return. We'll talk more about that here on the next topic. But yes, Daniel Dye headed to full-time Xfinity. He's looked pretty good in part-time starts this year. He's got a couple of top 10s, one at Iowa, one recently at Indianapolis. Daniel Dye just qualified for the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs. They race in Milwaukee this weekend. I do hope Kaulig is able to find either a veteran or a truly top prospect to put in the 16, because Josh Williams has struggled this year, and Daniel Dye, I'm still not sold he's the real deal, and he is very young. Kaulig Racing is having a down year in Xfinity. Outside of Shane Van Gisbergen's 3 road course wins, they're winless. And Williams, as I just mentioned, is well outside of the playoff picture. So it's been a slightly disappointing season for Kaulig in the Xfinity and the Cup Series. So adding Daniel Dye into the mix, I don't think is going to make that team faster. He's a young guy. He needs coaching. He's not going to do the coaching, if you understand what I'm saying. I like AJ Allmendinger moving back up to the Cup Series. I think that's where he belongs. But now I hope they can find a veteran or a truly top prospect to put in that 16, at least part-time, to really give us a good baseline of where Kaulig is at next season. That's just my take. But in other driver news, perhaps even bigger driver news, yesterday Trackhouse, just before the start of the Xfinity Series race, kind of a weird time to release this, posted this. Trackhouse and Zane Smith have mutually agreed to separate at the conclusion of the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season, allowing the 25-year-old former Truck Series champion to immediately accept other opportunities. Smith drives the 71 Spire Chevy in an alliance with Trackhouse and will continue for the remainder of this season. Big news, but not exactly surprising news. I think the most surprising part of that statement is, again, that it was released at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. But there has been a lot of chatter lately that Zane Smith could reunite with Front Row Motorsports. Trackhouse mentions that Truck Series championship. He won that championship in the number 38 Front Row truck. Front Row Motorsports has announced they will be a 3-car Cup Series team next year. Todd Gilliland was extended. Noah Gragson has been signed. It sounds likely Zane Smith fills that 3rd role. That's according to rumors. Bob Pockers of Fox Sports has suggested it's possible. But of course, we will have to wait and see how this all shakes out. Again, the most surprising part of this is the timing. Not just that the release was posted at 7 p.m. on a Friday, but also that because it was less than a year ago, only about 11 months ago, that Zane Smith and Trackhouse first joined forces. Go back to last September. Trackhouse announced the signing of both Zane Smith and Shane Van Gisbergen the very same week. This is my theory. This is how it feels. It almost feels like Zane Smith was an insurance policy. Shane Van Gisbergen, we know, is a world-class driver, brings tons of eyeballs from Australia and New Zealand. He's a 3-time Supercars champion, turned heads when he won the Cup race at Chicago last year, obviously won the Xfinity race this season. Like, the guy is a world-class driver, a big personality. They signed Shane Van Gisbergen, fully intending on him going Cup Series racing one day. But just in case, he struggled mightily in Xfinity this season, could not figure out the ovals, wasn't showing any progression at the ovals. Trackhouse went and picked up Zane Smith, just in case. You know, hey, he's a legit prospect, had a Truck Series championship. I've been high on Zane Smith for several years. If SVG struggled this season, move Zane Smith in-house. Instead, unfortunately, the exact opposite happened this year. SVG, I think, has exceeded most expectations. He's won 3 out of the 4 road course races. I guess that's not shocking. That's still really good. But even on the ovals, SVG has been, I think, serviceable. He has several top 10 finishes, was recently 4th at Indianapolis. And again, this has been kind of a down year for Kaulig, speed-wise, across the board. Most folks expect Shane Van Gisbergen to get that 3rd Trackhouse seat, assuming Trackhouse opens a 3rd seat. It hasn't been confirmed or announced just yet. Zane Smith, meanwhile, struggled out the gates this year. Granted, he was driving for Spire, and it was a new third Spire team, a collaboration with Trackhouse. It was a weird deal. A lot of folks over there, not a ton of experience. So naturally, there were growing pains. What's encouraging about Zane Smith is that over the past 6 Cup Series races, his average finish is a very respectable 15.8. That's not amazing, but he's got a couple of top 10s mixed in there. It's decent. That's close to what his fellow rookie teammate Carson Hocevar has been able to do this summer. So Zane Smith is clearly talented. This is a classic case of Trackhouse just not having enough rooms at the inn. Chastain is still there, of course. They just recently extended Suarez for 1 season. Connor Zilic is the next big thing. They got him an Xfinity Series ride for next season. They're kind of doing with Zilic what they did with SVG, although Zilic will drive for Junior Motorsports. Of course, they have SVG, 5 drivers with right now only 2, maybe 3 Cup seats. That was never going to work out. Someone was going to be on the chopping block. Zane Smith, at the very least, it sounds like, has a pretty good fallback option in Front Row Motorsports. I hope that deal works out, because Zane Smith with Noah Gragson and Todd Gilliland at Front Row next year with the speed they've shown, that could be a frisky team. I'm looking forward to that. Speaking of Front Row, Michael McDowell will start from the pole tonight at Daytona. His teammate Todd Gilliland will be right there next to him. First time ever that Front Row Motorsports has swept the front row for a NASCAR Cup Series event. That's pretty cool, and a lot of pressure on these 2 drivers tonight. Both drivers are outside of the playoff picture. A win gets them in. Todd Gilliland led 74 laps combined between the first Daytona and Atlanta races back in February, and Michael McDowell, of course, is a former Daytona 500 winner and was leading coming out of Turn 4 at Talladega in April. Here's Michael McDowell ahead of tonight's big race.
There's always time in the race where when you get down to the nitty gritty at the end, you have to make a decision of whether or not you're going to be a team player or not. We've seen it play out a few times, but for Todd and I, it hasn't played out yet. We haven't got to the last lap and been nose to tail and had a shot at trying to win the race together. I don't want to take away a win from Todd. I want to win myself tomorrow night, but if we're in that situation, you have to play it out to where, is my move going to hurt both of us, or is it going to help one of us, or both of us, right? So you don't know until you're in that situation, and we haven't been there yet to know on that last lap coming off of Turn 4 what we would do.
I know they don't have a win yet this season, but Front Row has been pretty impressive in my opinion. Todd Gilliland is 20th in points, McDowell right behind him in 21st. I asked Todd Gilliland, who is also in must-win territory heading into tonight, about Front Row's performance and how he feels they maybe have improved throughout this season.
At least our race team it's miles better than it was, the last year, and then definitely my first season. So, is that just a Ford relationship? I don't think so, right? It helps on all aspects, and we have a great partnership with Ford. We have a great partnership with Penske. We have so many smart people at our own race shop that are able to put the information to use, right, in the right way. So, I don't know. I think it's all those things combined that have gotten a little bit stronger. My experience has gotten stronger. So I think everybody has stepped up in every area, and it's helped our whole racing.
Front Row Motorsports going to be fun to watch tonight for sure. But now let's talk about another playoff bubble driver. Ross Chastain enters this race just 1 point ahead of Bubba Wallace for the final provisional playoff spot. I didn't get a chance to talk to Ross. Unfortunately, I missed him this week, but I did talk to his teammate, Daniel Suarez, who is locked into the playoffs. And I asked Daniel if, his strategy or the team's strategy changes at all, knowing that Ross is in a precarious playoff position.
I have to do my race, and I'm sure that at several situations, different scenarios, we're going to be together, and obviously I'm going to try to help him as much as I can. I also want to win a race, right? And my main goal for tomorrow is to win stages and trying to win the race. And I'm in the process trying to help my teammate to make the playoffs.
I know we're focused on the playoff bubble, but there's also a regular season championship at stake. And remember, at the end of the regular season, the points leader gets additional playoff points. Tyler Reddick, thanks to a great race at Michigan, is now your regular season points leader. He has a 10-point lead over Chase Elliott. I asked Tyler Reddick about what Denny Hamlin 2311 co-owner has talked about in the past, a 5-year plan towards becoming competitive. This is year 4 for 2311, and they're the regular season points leader.
I know Denny in the past has talked about sort of a 5-year plan for 2311 to win that championship. But I mean, you're the regular season points leader. You made a deep run last year. Like, I guess is the mood at the shop any different this year? I mean, this is year 4, I guess technically. So is it like, hey, we're ahead of schedule, or is there like a buzz there that's kind of different that you hadn't seen before?
I think everyone's just really locked in what we need to do right now. We all get very excited when we win. Have days like like we did on Monday, where we win and get the points lead. That's winning is anytime you can win when you're a young team like that. It's good for everybody. But even more than that, being able to jump Hendrick and get to the front of the regular season points is a big deal for us too. So obviously we want to be contending for him, right? 5 years in, and I think we still got some things we're working on. We're still getting the pit department and getting the, we haven't even finished really building our footprint in 2311 yet, so we're still building up. So it's nice to be performing like we are right now.
Coke Zero Sugar 400 tonight at Daytona International Speedway. I cannot wait. Hope you all enjoy the race. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who came out to the live Power Hour podcast episode with me and Brennan Poole yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Had a good crowd. Was fun to chat with folks afterwards. Really do appreciate you all coming out. Hopefully we can continue to do things like that at other races throughout this season and well into the future. I appreciate your support. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR content every single day, whether I'm at home, at the track, does not matter. Big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well, who help make traveling like this a lot easier, helps keep this show growing. I will see you all tonight after the Coke Zero Sugar 400, maybe early Sunday morning, depending on when your bedtime is. But thanks for watching, folks. I'll catch you again real soon.